Hello, I'm W.T. Edmondson, and welcome to Focus. Freedom often causes unbelievable silence. Well, citizens cannot be silent during any election, and April the 3rd cannot be any different. It is very important that citizens go out to the polls and vote and let your thoughts be known. On April the 3rd, 2018, citizens will go to the poll to elect candidates. And there are 3 candidates running for the 5th Ward. We have with us today Ms. Ashley Jones Kaufman, and she will be running against John Hensley and Jim Crabtree. Each candidate during this segment will have 20 minutes to present themselves to their 5th Ward constituents and to ask them for their vote. We will start off with an opening statement from Ms. Kaufman, and then we will go into our questions. Welcome to Focus.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay, well, City Council.
Yes.
All right. Tell us a little bit in your opening statement. We want you to let us know a little bit about yourself and why you choose to run for City Council.
Okay, so my name is Ashley Jones Kaufman. I am a native of Jefferson City, Missouri, and the 5th Ward. I graduated from Jefferson City High School, and upon graduation, I attended Southern Illinois University in Carbondale. Upon graduation, me and my then boyfriend, now husband, moved back to Jefferson City. He's a Navy veteran, so he's new to this area. But we moved here, and I received my master's degree in education. We have 2 awesome children, and I currently am employed with the Department of Economic Development. And speaking of my children, they're one of the reasons I'm running. I know that City Council is the voice of all people, and how can all people be heard if all people are not represented? And I believe that's where I come in. I am different than my opponents, and so that's very important to have representation. I also believe in neighborhood stabilization. It's one of the things that I stand behind. It's important. Jeff City was named the most beautiful town in America, and so in order to preserve that image, we must take care of our buildings and hold landlords, absentee landlords, accountable. I also am in favor of historic preservation. We have a rich culture. We have the prison that, if you Google it, actually, if you Google Jefferson City, Missouri, the first attraction that comes up is our prison and the tours that we have, excuse me. So, with Jefferson City's rich history, it's important that people know that we're more than just a small town between St. Louis and Kansas City, but we have a history and we have a story that we'd like to tell. I'm also in favor of community policing. This involves the police, but it also involves the neighborhoods, neighbors knowing each other. Going back in the day where people could just knock on the door and you knew who your neighbors were. That's what we need to get back to, and getting to know one another. Economic development, responsible economic development for Jefferson City, that is very important, because without forward movement, there is no progress. And furthermore, the reason why I'm running is I believe in maintaining and forming a strong connection with Lincoln University. Again, it's one of the most historic institutions in this state, actually. So what should be happening is stronger engagement with City Council and Lincoln University and their students.
Well, thank you very much. Tell me, what do you see the role of city government being, and what is the role of a city council person?
I see the role of city government ensuring that its residents are safe. They live in an environment that they can trust. It's clean, wholesome. City government takes care of its residents, makes sure sure not only do people want to stay here, but people want to come here. I believe the role for City Council is that there's 10 members, so there's 2 people per ward. So it's to represent the best interest of the people in their ward. Jefferson City is a small town, but it's big in this aspect. So we have these broken up 2 people, city council members, to make sure everyone's voices are heard in each ward. So I think that is their role.
How will you go about ensuring that your constituents are in fact being represented?
Yes, it's important to be transparent with the citizens, but it's also to take it a step further. Not only should you be transparent, but you should start a dialogue with residents. So in order for their voices to be heard, it's important that our information is out there. With City Council, every City Council member, their phone number is listed on the website, and I believe their email is too, to be able to feel open and for the citizens and residents to have open access to council members. So, and social media is big now, so to have the citizens know, the residents know that you are available no matter the revenue or streams in which they contact you. So social media, calling, any of that. And to make sure their voices are heard, you start a dialogue.
Can you describe a time when your display of leadership made the difference in the direction that an organization that you were involved with ultimately went?
Okay, yes. So as we all know, Jefferson City Public School at one point or another was looking for more space. So one of their avenues or one of their ways of trying to gain more space was to come into the 5th Ward where I live and buy property right next to my house. Well, that was not something that had been brought to the residents, and I was one of the people that spearheaded. I did a social media campaign. I started a petition, an online petition, and got over 200 signatures. And I went door to door letting residents know that this is the plan that the school board has set forth. What do we think about this? So we started attending meetings, and I got people to attend small groups, and the residents, as well as myself, ultimately came together and approached the school board, and the school board decided not to buy that piece of land. And so that was very important in saving our historic preservation in our neighborhood, saving our neighborhoods.
Okay, thank you. How will you go about getting things done in that you would have to deal with a diverse mindset on the city council?
Well, you can't, the only way to progress is to simply state what the residents are thinking to the city council. I know it's a diverse mind. We all have different mindsets, but we need to make sure that the city council is aware that the main priority is its citizens. So if something is presented to me by the residents and it's something that needs to be dealt with, then I would present it to the city council and make sure they keep in mind that residents are the ones that we are serving, taxpayers. This is their money. They should have a say in what it is and needs to be fixed.
Okay. How will you go about ensuring that you are always armed with the facts in representing your constituency, and how will you go about ensuring that you are not co-opted with the groupthink?
Right. Research is key to anything, and research in this instance would be contacting residents of the 5th Ward and seeing what it is that they would like to see or not see and bringing it to the group. Groupthink has never really solved much, especially if you just go along with whatever everyone is saying. It's good to have diverse opinions and thoughts. So in order not to be coerced into that, again, I will keep the residents in mind in what they want, because I know they want their voices to be heard.
Thinking about city government, workforce is important. How will you go about addressing to the city council, to the city, the importance of ensuring that there is a diverse workforce within city government?
Yes, that is very important, and I would go about it just to see who's represented there now. It's interesting that you said that because research is key. I did research some things about Jefferson City. So in 2007, Jefferson City was ranked the 5th best small city to start a small business, that's important because that brings in diversity. We know that businesses bring people, and so to ensure that diversity is in the city, we must take a look at who's being represented, who's there now, and to see where we can implement change to encourage diversity. So, yeah.
Okay. What is your position on ensuring that full financial disclosure of all elected officials is at the forefront?
I think it depends on the elected official. My role, for instance, in City Council, I think that would be very intrusive to ask for financial disclosure from a City Council member, as we've already provided those details to the Ethics Commission. Mm-hmm. So I think that in terms of City Council, as long as people are transparent and there's no question about who's getting what from where, it just depends on the position.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay, okay. Should the city give tax breaks and incentives to prospective developers?
I think they should. It's important, again, to have new and diverse things in our city and to attract people here. So in order to do that, they're looking for an incentive. It's important that our city we are the most beautiful small town. It's important that we stay open to that and to that fact. And again, people want to come here, and we need to give them a reason to come here.
What is your position on expanded bus service in Jefferson City?
Okay. Well, my position is this. I think that the current City Council has done a great job of opening the market to other entities such as other transportation services out there. So I know it costs money to run a bus past a certain time, and I don't think we should burden the taxpayers anymore to ask them for any more money in transportation. It's important that that people do have access to transportation, but I think the current City Council has done a good job by opening the market.
Okay. That is an issue that I'm sure you will have to address again, especially with low-income people.
Yes.
Because they do have problems getting around the city on weekends and so forth. So that will definitely be an issue coming up as well. Do you feel that the city has successfully addressed the convention conference issue?
Have they successfully addressed it? It's been addressed. The citizens have voted on a lodging tax 3 years ago. I think the citizens have spoken. The residents know what we want. I think it's time for the convention center to begin building, because as costs go up, that lodging tax is not going to cover the materials that in future. So, yeah.
Okay. Tell me, what are the top 3 issues that this city should be dealing with within the next 3 years?
Top 3. For me, one would be historic preservation. That's a big thing. That's key. Neighboring cities, they used historic preservation, and tourism comes in and it drives revenue into those areas, and that's the goal of the City Council and of the city, is to drive people here. Historic preservation is important, and I think the goal would be to make it easier for districts to be labeled as historic in our city. It shouldn't be a lot of hoops to jump through, because it's important that we have these areas located within our city.
Tell me something. You had another one?
Others.
2 others?
Neighborhood stabilization, making sure that we are keeping up with our properties. Again, we are the most beautiful small town in America, and how can we be that without keeping up our properties? So holding landlords accountable and making sure that their urban decay doesn't happen overnight. So we need to make sure that these properties are accounted for and hold these people accountable. And you said 3.
Right.
So my last one is, I would think not forming because there is already a relationship with Lincoln University, but maintaining and creating a stronger bond between the city and Lincoln University.
Being that Jefferson City is the seat of state government. You're employed with state government.
Yes.
What do you see as an important role or a good mix between city and state government, being that this is the seat of state government?
I think an important role is knowing what's available, the city knowing what's available in the state as far as employment. That's what drives people here is the state. So knowing that we're open, and we have, actually I have another study I found in 2016, Jefferson City ranked 13th nationally among the best cities for career opportunities. So it's important for the city council or the city to know what the state is doing employment-wise, because that's what's driving people here.
Okay. What is your position on the proposed Adrian Island development? That has been something that is placed on the agenda, then it falls off, and it comes back. It seems that, you know, it never goes away. So what is your position on Adrian Island?
I believe Adrian Island is a good idea. We're a city with water. We need access to the water. It's good to see. It's good to see the water that we have, because most cities with water, they have access to waterfront. I think that it's important to see, though, where the money is coming from and where it's going to be spent, but I think it's a good idea.
Okay, okay. We have a couple of more minutes. Is there, as you thought about running for the city council, what issues, other than the ones that you have elaborated on, that really propel you, said, I'm going to do this?
Yes, other than the ones I've already elaborated on, I believe community policing is a big one. Everyone, well, I can't say everyone because I can't speak for everyone, but I believe that having safe neighborhoods is important, and just knowing who you're around. I also believe that forming connections with not only our neighborhoods, but just in general, because the wards connect. It's good to bring more diverse things into the city and have people, welcome people, be more inclusive. I think that's one thing that I could bring, is a new perspective on how to be inclusive in our city, because that's one thing, a big thing that I've seen on my focus groups, that they don't feel like we're inclusive at all times. So I think that's something I could bring to the table.
Okay, okay. Well, as we prepare to hear your closing statement, is there anything that you would like to say to your constituents that you're seeking to gain their vote? You have this opportunity at this time.
Yes, okay. Well, my name is Ashley Jones Kaufman. I want to iterate that. And I'm running because I know that I can make a difference in city council. And in this city, I can bring a diverse, new perspective, a fresh face and a fresh feel to most things. I know that if elected, I could be the voice of the Fifth Ward, seeking out public opinion, and what the residents want is really what they need, what we all need. It's good to be transparent, but I like to take it a step further, like I said, and start a dialogue with people, because you never know what somebody wants or what they need or what our city is lacking until you ask. And I'm also asking respectfully for everyone's vote that lives in the Fifth Ward on April 3rd.
Okay, well, thank you very much. We hope that you are successful in your venture, and we have two other candidates that they're also hoping that they would be successful in their venture. So I'm hoping that the candidates have an opportunity to really get out and stir up the community and to ensure that we have a big turnout for that election day. Well, we want to thank you for tuning in to Focus today. We are focusing on the candidates for the 5th Ward. It is very important that you take the time to get out and vote. If you don't vote, don't complain. So we ask you to take that time to get out and vote. Here again, this is March the 5th. The last day to register for the election is the 7th. And so if you're not registered already, you must get registered by the 7th. And the election is April the 3rd, Tuesday, April the 3rd. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we'll see you next time. God bless.